to the DrVtach Show. This podcast is a long-form conversation hosted by DrVtach with the top guests in the world of esports. All from owners, pros, semi-pros, former pros, and content creators of many games. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DrVtach Show. And I tell you what, we got a special guest today. And this guy is phenomenal. And let me tell you, I heard he's tough. Oh, I heard he's really tough. How tough? Well, he seasoned his steak with pepper spray. I'm going to tell you, that's tough. I don't care what you say. That is tough. So, guys, I am so happy and honored to introduce to you this Oxygen Pro iRacer. I've been checking him out on Twitter and all the stuff that he's doing on YouTube, and this guy is, I think he should just go race in real life. So I'm proud to introduce you to Zack Novak. Zack, welcome to the DrVtach Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little about yourself, where you're from, and how this all started.
Yeah, so I'm from Clinton, Connecticut, just a small town on the shoreline of Connecticut, right next to the beach. And I started racing when I was 5. My dad was really into racing. He helped one of his friends put together his race car and would go to the racetrack with him. So, he was kind of always intertwined with it in some way. And one day at school, there was another kid in my school that raced in Meriden, Connecticut, which is about 35 to 40 minutes from me. And he handed out like flyers, basically promoting the racetrack, trying to get kids to go race. And it just so happened that I got a hold of that flyer, and I brought it home to my dad, and I said, I want to do this. And we got a car, showed up, and I was not very good to start, which is expected out of most 5-year-olds. So, but I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. And we were, financially in a really good spot at that point to be able to, it's very expensive. So to be able to fund that, I'm very thankful for. And, that kind of kickstarted everything. And then the financial stuff kind of caught up to us eventually. And it's, again, very expensive and very time consuming as well to race like that. So, we eventually couldn't do it anymore. So I moved into iRacing, which I found when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and just played it all the time. I could not get off of it. I was in love. I loved racing. I loved competition and everything about it. And so it's been a long time, but here we are.
Amazing, man. Amazing. They always say the greats are the ones that start very early at a very young age. That is kind of wild, starting at 5, and then you at the age of 9 and 10, you find a new passion in an iRacing. I'm going to tell you what, I had Femi, your colleague, on the show, and I like I said before, I never knew this existed. I didn't know this was something even in the pro league. I did not know you would have this. Because honestly, I like it as well. I always liked NASCAR, Indy racing, all this type of stuff, and I always tend to like both, but I lean more towards the NASCAR. It's a little bit more easy. Their tracks are more easier to manage versus Indy.
Yeah.
I don't know, how can you say, it's more like aggressive in a way. Yeah. It's like you're everybody's tight. and think you cut, you got to find that little open gap. You got to really know how to do it. So how is it you got into iRacing? How did, like, okay, you got picked up for a team, or how is it like you transition and then you bought your equipment? When was that? Because you started off on console, or how do you started on this?
No, so most people, at least at the time that I started, pretty much everybody that I heard of, getting into it, started with like a laptop, right? Like a really cheap laptop and a cheap, $100 wheel and pedal set, something very accessible to pretty much everybody. Obviously iRacing wasn't released on console or anything, so that wasn't an option. So I pretty much just had like a bad laptop hanging around the house, and I convinced my parents to buy me like an Xbox wheel and pedal set. Is like $80 or something, and it broke every 3 months, so we had to keep going back and get one.
You didn't put warranty on those suckers?
No. Maybe we did. I don't even know, but I just remember always having to get a new one every couple months. But
damn, you were going hardcore.
Yeah,
you were going hard.
I was doing a lot of races, but so I found iRacing. We were at a Daytona 500 watch party. I forget what year it was. I think it was 2012. So yeah, I found it that year. The person's house that we were at, he had iRacing already, so he was, he just like had it in the living room, just, his laptop and his small wheel set. And I tried it and I loved it. It was so much fun, and I was literally just out there driving by myself, and I had so much fun. So, yeah, I ended up
so convenient too.
Yeah, exactly. I ended up convincing my parents to get me on there. The minimum age is 13, so I wasn't actually allowed to be on iRacing.
Oh, really? The minimum age is 13 and up?
Yeah. So
okay,
I kind of got past the system on that one.
Jeez.
But yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Well, like, I got a lot of friends they're into Rainbow Six Siege and first person shooters, and you got to be 18 for those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're lucky that in iRacing is 13 and above. Because the game is E for everyone, no?
Yeah. Yeah. There was actually a kid. I think he qualified for a pro series on iRacing before he was 13. So he like wasn't eligible to race in the professional series at the time. But luckily that didn't happen to me. I wasn't that good that early.
Jeez. I mean, but that's got to be really, really tough for you, because I mean, all the hours you got to put in, and knowing how this game really is. When I'm racing, I'm racing against bots. Last time I raced, and for me, it's difficult. Yeah. I'm like, what the heck? And usually, the pros were like, oh, bots are so easy for me. It's like nothing. Of course, you've been doing it like 10 hours a day for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Now you need something more competition to it. So you're from Connecticut. That's interesting. I lived in Connecticut. I loved it. I was a Navy brat. Yeah, I lived in Groton. Okay. And I went to school in Ledyard. This is before the big casinos.
Okay.
And so I loved it there. I just didn't like the cold.
Yeah.
It started getting cold.
It's getting nice now.
Oh yeah, now it's getting nice. And that's where my roots of the Boston Celtics came along.
Okay.
Because when I was raising up, when I was young, it was Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, all the old school, the greats, the legends, the OGs. And since then, I'm always been a Celtics fan. not a Patriots fan, but a Celtics fan. I always that's my diehard team, and I always say. And another thing on baseball, I always say any team but the Yankees. So when Boston are playing against the, I'm rooting for Boston. But yeah, man, that's nice. You're like up there. I think that's where isn't the headquarters of Oxygen up there?
Yeah. So I drove to the major. I went to the COD major, and that was like a 2-hour drive. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're pretty close.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Now, how was it that you got picked up by Oxygen? How that came about?
Yeah, so basically we have like a free agency period at the start of the year. It's like I think 4 days or so, where basically teams are eligible to reach out to drivers, and I guess vice versa, but I don't know, I'm very uncomfortable with like reaching out to a team and being like, hey, I need a spot. So I don't know if it is vice versa or not, but regardless, I got a Twitter DM from Adam, and he was just like, hey, I want to learn more about iRacing. Do you think we could talk? And at the time, I'd been with what was called Rise Esports for 4 years. I'd been with them for a long time, so I really didn't plan on going anywhere else. My situation there was great. I was super happy with everything that was going on, and obviously, it paid well. So I was really happy with just everything, and I was ready to just stay. And I got informed a couple days before that free agency period opened that they wouldn't be returning. So that kind of just threw like a whole wrench in everything. And
it hurt you a little bit. Yeah. I know how you feel, because when I was with Wildcard, it's like that was the first organization to reach out to me, and I felt so appreciative of it because of it. And my heart and soul is with the organization. And I didn't care if we're losing or we're winning. I'm just 100% with them. But then due to my brand is expanding, I feel I'm obligated to expand, and I have other things in mind, and that's the route that I have to take. And we parted in really good ways. I mean, I love the org and everything, but I know how you feel. I know that feeling that you felt.
Yeah. So I remember, hearing that, and I called my dad right after, and I was just like, it sucks, but like, this is such a good opportunity for me, to kind of branch out a little bit. And, cause like I said, I'd been with the same group, pretty much the same group of people for 4 years. So, and I kind of struggled the last couple of years as well, just performance wise and everything. So I figured this is a good opportunity to, change it up a little bit. So, I kind of took it as more of a positive than a negative. And again, that was right around the same time that I had been reached out to by Adam, and I spoke with Adam a couple times, and, we negotiated a deal, and I'm super happy with it. And I've loved, my 2 months or so of being with Oxygen so far. It's been awesome.
That's great. Adam is such a nice guy.
There's I was telling him too, like, because I was talking to him when we were there at the major. There's very few orgs that I've heard of that someone like as high up in the company as Adam is just a text message away. Like, I've never really heard of an org like that. So that's kind of what sets it apart for me, is like I can just text Adam and be like, hey man, what's going on or something like that. I don't think that's very common in orgs nowadays.
That's true. That's not common. Him and I were the same way. I'll DM. We'll be chatting back and forth. I know he's very busy, but he is so outgoing, and not a lot of CEOs and COOs are like that. He's just a phenomenal person, and we've been. I've been following him in Oxygen for quite some time, and then all of a sudden I see, boop, Adam follows you. I'm like, oh God, that's freaking amazing. And some people are just like, oh yeah, so what? I'm like, so what? This guy's freaking Adam. He's Oxygen. He's a nice guy. I mean, hello. I don't care about certain pros and all this. I'd rather have Adam follow me. But because he's a very good-hearted person, and I see that in him, and I see how the way he is with a lot of players, and how he is with you and with Femi, and giving you guys opportunities and stuff like that. I tip my hat off to him and the org. It's really nice he gave you that call and reached out to you, and not for nothing. You guys' skins are freaking sick, man.
Yeah, that whole deal with Coca-Cola kind of came together last second, but I'm super happy with how it turned out. Like with the paints, and then they're wanting us to be super creative with it, and kind of come up with new paint schemes. We have one planned actually for Darlington, the throwback race, which is in a couple months. So I'm excited to announce that one. But like I said, I've loved it. I really, really have loved it. The people are great. The communication is really good. And I just got to do my job now. I got to perform better. So hopefully we can do that.
Now I have a question. On the car, you guys advertise a lot of, like in real life, you see all these brands.
Yep.
Can you choose whatever brand you want, any sticker on there, or that comes like particularly what the organization wants, or that's by Coca-Cola?
So typically every car has what they call contingency sponsors. So like I have this right here. So there's a little like list of sponsors right here. That is designated by the series or the what's it called, like the sanctioning body, I guess. So they'll have those on the car, but then pretty much every other logo is designated by either myself, or if Oxygen had a company to put on there, they would put that on there. So the logo on my quarter panel, which is McConey Setup Shop, they're a personal partner of mine. I've known Jeff for a long time now, probably like 4 years as well. And he's partnered, with my back end team, which I can get a little bit into that as well in a minute. But he's been super supportive of me and my group of guys that I work with. So to be able to kind of carry him along with me to this new spot is big. It's a big deal.
You know what looked really good on that door? Probably right there. Oh man, the DrVtach show podcast logo.
Maybe we could work something out.
Yeah, let's see. Adam, hook me up, brother. A pro bono said, you know what, Jeff? What the heck? Let's just put you in there as well. I'm just kidding. Adam, kidding. Well, if you want to take it serious and do it, amen. So, wow. So, man, that's crazy. I saw the Coca-Cola. What place I saw you tweeted it out. I couldn't understand too much the placements. You were, what came out the outcome of the race?
Yeah, so the past race at Atlanta, I qualified 17th. I felt like I race really well. I felt like it was one of my better races in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I made a lot of really good decisions. I felt like I pretty much always put myself in the right spot to go forward, and I got up to second, and then we had green flag pit stops, which basically, for anyone that isn't a racing fan, basically is just us having to pit under green flag conditions. So you're basically going from full race speed to having to slow down to 45 miles an hour for pit road. So it's very chaotic, very dangerous as well. Obviously, we're on a simulator, so it's not extremely dangerous, but in terms of your car health, it's dangerous.
Correct.
I called out that I was pitting, and a couple cars didn't hear it, and so they just kind of drove through the mess, and I got involved in a wreck, and so I got some damage, lost the pack, had to basically rebound, and I kept my lap, so there was a late race caution. I restarted, like, I don't know, 27th or 28th or something like that. Got involved in another wreck, another caution came out, and did it all over again, and ended up 23rd. So, not ideal, but it is
23 out of how many?
40.
40.
Yep.
Well, you know what? That's not bad. That's almost half.
That's what my sister says too. She's
That's
always
not
positive
bad.
about it. So
Now, if you were placed high 30s and right at 39 and 40, I would like, brother, I have to pray for you.
That kind of race, it's very unpredictable. You know, there's not really much you can do. A lot of it is, luck based. It's obviously there's a skill to it, right? It's, we in the NASCAR world consider super speedways kind of majority luck, but there's still a very, very distinct skill to it. That Malik Ray, the winner of the race, he's always up front at races like that. So, it's just kind of one of those things where chalk it down to luck. It's just the luck wasn't on my side that night. So
now, if you're behind in your other racer, Femi, for an example, what place was he in?
I think he finished 28th, maybe. He also got involved in a couple wrecks.
On a wreck? So. Oh, okay. And you were in 20 what now?
23rd. 23?
That's not bad. Out of 40, 23, that is not bad. I mean, keep your head up, man. That's pretty good. I mean, of course you want to be top 10, be up in those numbers, because those are really good positions. But now, if you're winning, and let's say, for instance, Femi is back, does it go by like a point system or something like this?
Yeah. So we have an 18 race season, and you just get points based on where you finish. So if you win, you get 40 points. Which basically is just like a bonus point system, pretty much. And then second gets 35, so you get 5 for a win, 5 bonus points. And then it just scales by 1. So it goes all the way down to, I think, 36th through 40th gets 1 point, and then everyone above that, like I said, it just goes up by 1. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not too complicated.
Yeah, it's not. I was kind of I didn't know the details. I assumed there was going to be a point system because you have a teammate with you.
Yep.
That helps you out, because if he wins first, I think that's also benefits you too.
Yep.
And whatever place you get. So that's interesting. That's really nice. Now, you only been with Oxygen for 3 months, you said, right?
Yeah, like 2-3 months. It hasn't been too long.
Not bad, man. Not bad. I just feel that iRacing should get more publicity, should be more out there on Twitch and on eSport, on the scene, because everything is first person shooter, first person shooter,
Yeah.
first person shooter, and it comes to a point that I get bored of it, and it gets tired. I want to watch something else. I don't want to be watching the same thing over and over every
Yeah.
single day, and I want to see some new things. Now I see that you also stream. You
Yep.
do, but what hours do you usually get on?
I'm very inconsistent with streaming. It really just depends on what tracks iRacing's at for the week. So iRacing basically has like a schedule system where each week they switch the track for a specific car. So it really just depends on if I like the track for that week, I'll do more races, and then it also depends. I'm in a couple leagues, so like normally those run Saturday or Sunday night. So pretty much I try and stream like at least a couple times a week. I'm not very consistent with it, like I said, but I've been trying to get a little bit better with it. But I definitely stream every Coke Series race every other Tuesday.
Okay, so on a Coke Series race, you're allowed to stream.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's pretty nice, because usually when there's a big competition, stuff like that, these guys cannot stream it because of stream snipers and people
Yep.
getting on the. I'm thinking, okay, how can you stream snipe somebody if you're racing? That's gonna be.
Yeah, like there's definitely instances of that, of people stream sniping and stuff, but there's really not much you can stream snipe.
Yeah, because you could look at the rear view mirror and okay, the guy's behind me, and the guy is stream sniping you. Yeah, you're in front of me.
the main the main
What
thing
else?
you'd be stream sniping is like communications, like team communications. So
Oh,
like
okay.
strategy, stuff like that. Obviously you can't like stream snipe, like how someone's driving or something like that, because
Correct.
it's very dependent on like the driver. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing, which most people that stream races kind of have a way figured out to combat the stream snipers and make sure nobody finds out their strategy.
Correct. Yeah, because they will hear what the coach is telling you.
Yeah.
Now you guys have a coach?
Sort of. We call it a crew chief. So
Okay.
it's basically the same thing though.
Okay. A crew chief. Oh, okay, that's neat. I didn't know that. It's like the real life thing. Like the
Yeah.
real.
So I have a crew chief and a spotter. Some people go with just one, either a spotter or a crew chief, or in my instance both. And so the crew chief I've been working with him for 7 years. I've been in the series for 8 years, and I've had him for 7. So he's been with me through
Thick and thin.
yeah, he's been with me through the championship and through the bad years too. So he's very, very supportive of me, and I love working with him.
Is he part of Oxygen too, or no?
He is not, no. So he's part of my back end team, which I'll dive into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically iRacing, how it is you'll see all the organizations in the series, right? So you'll see Oxygen and
M80.
M80, whoever else, some NASCAR teams, Rush, Fenway, Keselowski, teams like that. But on the back end, there's 6 or 7 teams that drivers are a part of. So, for example, me and Femi, we every race are on 2 separate setups. So every race that isn't a fixed race, which Atlanta was, will be on 2 completely different setups. Because I'm a part of Lockdown Racing on the back end, and he's a part of Norris Force Racing on the back end. So he has a whole different group of people that he works with on setups behind the scenes. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, there's like like I said, I think 6 or 7, maybe 8 different teams.
How do they get paid? You pay them, or they
No,
don't get
so
paid? Or?
it's all just kind of like a friendly agreement type thing, really.
Okay.
Most of the people that I work with on setups, so my teammates in the series are Taylor Hurst and Jonathan Delaney, who are on Team Dillon Esports. So those are the only 2 people that I work with in terms of setup stuff. So they're already in the series, so it's kind of just in our best mutual interest to just work together and try and perform as best as we can, versus like separating and
Okay, that's cool. Now, how many championships you won?
In the Coke series, just 1, but that's pretty much all I could ask for. I mean, it's really hard to win one. Really
So the
hard.
Coke series is like the biggest one of all.
Yes.
And you won one.
Yes. Yep. It feels like forever ago.
Yeah, that's like so the Coke series like winning a World Series or Super Bowl.
Yeah. I guess you could call it that.
On the iRacing, okay.
Not quite the prestige, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the one everybody wants to win, I assume.
Yep.
Now you got the Daytona 500 and all this other stuff, or no?
Yeah, so iRacing hosts special events every year for big racing events. So they have the Daytona 500, they have the Daytona 24-hour. They have, what else do they have? Like the Sebring 12-hour, the Watkins Glen 6-hour, stuff like that. Basically just any like big race in real life that you can think of, they most likely have a special event for it. So that's all separate though from the Coke series. So in the Coke series, we have, our own like version of the Daytona 500 or the Coke 600, stuff like that. But we don't have like that length of a race. So Daytona, I believe, was 80 laps this year. And then our Charlotte race is 160, which the real life race is 400. So
wow.
We don't follow the same lengths, but yeah.
That's good to know, because I asked Femi that question, and he told me no, it was like half of it, but he didn't give me precise like the way you're giving to me. So you get down to the numbers. So 80 laps. Do you feel that's enough laps?
My opinion on that is very strong. I've kind of went back and forth with the people that make those decisions, and I've expressed my desire to have longer races, mainly because I don't qualify well. So longer races would help me.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, whatever schedule is given to me, I need to do better with. So
bite the bullet. You gotta take it as it is. I agree with you. I believe if iRacing is gonna be iRacing, it's a simulator. What you guys are doing, this is a simulator. This is not no little Need for Speed racing game. I believe it should be basically the same as the real life. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know, going 160 laps is going to take but if they do it in real life, why not do it on the simulator? I mean, that's me.
Yeah, so
that's my opinion. You're getting close. Basically, you're doing exactly the same thing in real life. And the reason why I say this, because I do Flight Simulator. In Flight Simulator, you take any flight you want. And if I'm going to take a flight from where I'm from Florida, going down to Puerto Rico, where I was born at and raised, it's actually 2 hours and a half, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yep.
Real time. And so in the simulator is the real time. No, you can't cut it. You can't go there faster unless you changed a different type of jet or whatever. Then you can, but it goes equivalent to the aircraft you have in real time.
Yep.
So I believe as well that in iRacing should be the same exact thing as it is in real life. I mean, that's me because it makes it more realistic and make it more interesting. Now, my thing is going to be a little bit more towards the crashes. I don't know how many accidents happen on the track versus in real life. Is it more on simulator or it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot more. And the reasoning is simply just because we're a lot closer together. Everybody has way more time to practice. In real life, they only have like maybe an hour to practice before each race. So that, and then the cars are all equal. So, for example, the Chevrolet, the Ford, and the Toyota are all 100% equal in terms of performance. So that basically means that any driver is going to be, close to each other because we've all done hundreds of thousands of laps. So it doesn't matter what car we're in, we're going to be the same speed. And pretty much the only thing like differentiating each other is setups. So, and there's only so much you can do on setups because it's, there's only so much that works to where we're all kind of in a box, right? And we're all really close to each other. So, that's what creates the crashes is we're just all so close that, you're just going to wreck a lot when you're going like 180 in a pack.
Wow. So the setups basically is the setups that you do to the engine in the car, like the transmission and stuff like that?
No, so setups is
That's
mostly
fine tuning. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Mostly like changing your springs and changing the ride heights of the car and adjusting shocks and adjusting where the weight is transferred. So you could change your nose weight and your basically like the way the bar sits in the front and the rear, so you can determine how fast it transfers weight and stuff like that. That's not my specialty by any means.
Oh, really?
That's what I got Taylor for.
Oh.
Taylor Hurst is very good at that stuff. I'm not nearly as smart when it comes to that. So
somebody does this for you?
For the most part, yes. I try and help as much as I can, and I try and run laps and give feedback on the car and stuff. But in terms of actually, building a setup, I'll be completely honest. I would struggle by myself for sure.
Wow, man, this is like really close to like real life.
Yeah.
Because all these professionals have people that do this for them.
Yeah.
They don't even mess with that. They just drive. And of course they'll test out and they say, yeah, I feel it good. I want it to be more stiff because when I'm making the turns, I want it to either be more stiff or I need the shocks to be more loose. That is crazy. So you got somebody that does this all for you.
Yeah, so there's a couple guys in the series that can build their own setup and are really good at it, that are also really good drivers. But there's only so many guys that can do that. And it takes a lot of time and effort to be at that level of, a competitive setup builder and then also a competitive racer.
That is crazy. That's really, really neat. I didn't know it went that intense. Now, what about the tires? I mean, are those tires make any difference or are all the tires the same?
So tires are actually a huge thing, especially in NASCAR. We have we normally have like a tire set limit in each race. So everybody is on the same like tire compound, but in terms of, you know, throughout the race, strategizing when you know, come and take tires, and maybe when you don't come and take tires, because it's the tire fall off is very important. So, you know, if I were to go do 30 laps at a racetrack, I'm going to fall off probably somewhere around a second, depending on the racetrack. So I'll be, you know, on average, I don't know what the mile per hour equivalent would be, but maybe like 5 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour, something like that, slower on average every lap, however much it is. Basically the tires falling off, you'll just kind of tell as the run goes on. Pretty much, it's really like hard to explain, honestly, but you just kind of feel it as a driver.
You feel it. You feel the difference. That is crazy. And even, I assume, even in wreckage and stuff like that, you also will feel it too. It lowers the performance drastically.
Yeah. So, if you know, get involved in a crash, pretty much no matter what, you'll struggle with speed afterwards. Depending on the track, it can be less important. So, you know, a track where draft is very important, like Atlanta or Daytona, something like that, damage won't mean as much. As long as you're close enough, you can just kind of hang with the draft. But, you know, obviously if you have a ton of damage, you're not going to be able to keep up anyways. So yeah, I mean, yeah, even with draft. So it's definitely, you know, they do a good job. They've definitely made a lot of improvements on iRacing, in, you know, the last 5 years or so. You know, with the damage model and stuff like that to improve, you know, just the realism of it.
Well, I heard that the fan base, been hearing, has been growing.
Yeah. It grew a lot during COVID, as most games probably did. But iRacing had crazy growth just because they were kind of able to sell it as like, hey, we can have all 40 Cup Series drivers, or 36 or however many, come on here and race, and we could like actually host a legitimate race, versus, you know, for like the real baseball players in the MLB, like you know, you can't really sell that. If they were to go play like MLB The Show or something like that, you can't really sell that the same. So, yeah, they hosted a bunch of races with real NASCAR drivers, and I was able to sort of be a part of that, you know, helping out some of the drivers when COVID hit. And that was like I said, it was a huge boost to iRacing and just their overall knowledge in the racing scene, really. Like, nobody, I mean, obviously people knew iRacing, right? But it felt like it grew like double once COVID hit, and a lot more people knew about it, especially in the racing scene. I feel like it's pretty much a staple in the NASCAR scene nowadays. Like, if you're involved with NASCAR in one way or another, you most likely know what iRacing is. So
yeah, when that happened, were you there when all those drivers got together?
Yeah, so I was helping a couple drivers at the time. It was Anthony Alfredo, a NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, also from Connecticut, and I built a relationship with him, and he helped me out, you know, with developing some partners. He actually was who introduced me to Jeff McConey with McConey Setup Shop. So I built a relationship with him, and you know, like I said, he was very helpful in developing some partners, and you know, I made friends with him, and he, you know, gave me opportunities to go to races. And
that's crazy. Now he's a professional driver.
Yeah.
He's the one that goes against the big boys, like, well, I don't know, Jeff Gordon, and they're already retired, I think, right?
Yeah. He's in the series lower than that. So
Okay, he's in the series. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily the minor leagues because it's like they're all still professionals, but I guess that's technically what you would consider it, as like the minor leagues of the Cup Series.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know there was like a minor league, and then you got the pro, the bigger league, major leagues. That's pretty. That's wild. Now, anybody from the big one, the major one, major league?
Well, because
Earnhardt,
of
right, Junior.
I've met Junior before, but I'm not like close with him or anything. Obviously,
Okay.
One driver I've also met a little bit is Austin Dillon. He is the owner of Team Dillon Management, which Anthony, that's like his management company, or whatever, however it works. But so they're friends, and so I helped Austin with one of his races, I think, or something like that, when it was all virtual. So besides that, not really. I don't really know anyone like in the Cup Series or anything like that. So I kind of more so watch it as a fan every Sunday, but I'm okay with that because I love racing, so watching it as a fan is always kind of nice.
Oh, that's neat. So I bet your whole entire household are NASCAR fans.
Yeah, my sister is pretty into it, but she more so just watches my races and watches for me.
Oh, that's nice.
My mom is kind of the same way, but my dad and I pretty much every weekend watch the race together for the most part. So, like I said at the beginning, he's who got me into racing. And
now, your dad got in. This is what I'm going to ask, because a lot of pro players, they go through a little bit of turmoil with their parents. And how did your parents feel about you being so long and so dedicated, being on the computer, just racing? Were they like against this, or then after you became pro, then like, okay, yeah, good, because you're gonna make a living out of it. You can make some money. You'd be making money now. So how did that go about? Because I know some people that they're pros on different games, and they're like, oh man, my parents did not like it, but when they saw my first check and saw that I went pro, they're like, why aren't you in the room playing? It's like, why aren't you not back in there playing? So how do your parents took it, and what do you had to do to probably change their opinion now?
Yeah, so they were supportive, but they didn't just quite understand. So I think at a certain point they kind of understood that, like, okay, he's actually good at this. He's not just sitting in his room like racing all the time just because. For a while I was just sitting in there racing just because I loved it. But eventually it got to a point where I was in my room all the time racing because I was actually trying to get better and improve. So I think it was around 2016, like midway through 2016, when I started beating some like actual really good competition. And I was like, hey, I got a shot here. I'm going to try and see if I can make it. And at the time, the qualifying series was, I think, the top 20 from the Pro Series, which was eligible to everybody. So anybody could run it. And my rating on the game was high enough to make what's called top split, so it's basically the most points available. So I was racing against the best competition with the most points you could get on the table. So I finished, I think, 16th in points that year and qualified for, at the time, it was called the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, which, again, is just the same thing as the Coke Series now. And, yeah, like I said, I made it. 2017 when I was like 15 years old, and at that point they realized, like, okay, this is legit. It's not just like a joke. And then, once they saw the fact that I was on NBC for the 2019 championship, that race was broadcast live on NBC. So
really, that was on TV?
Yes, I was on
Get
live
the heck
TV.
out of here! Not even first person shooters get that.
Yeah, that was a big deal for us.
Wow.
That was on live TV, and they all came running in after the race, and were hugging me and whatever, and
that's gotta feel amazing.
Yeah.
You recorded it?
Yeah. It's on there somewhere. It's on YouTube probably.
Oh, okay. That is freaking cool.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of when they realized, like, okay, this is legit.
Yeah,
exactly. This isn't just a joke.
This isn't a joke. This is not Mario or Pac-Man or this is like the real deal here. See, that's I explained this before to other players that our parents, what they know about gaming is the Atari, Nintendo, and they're thinking, how can you make money playing Mario or Galaxy or or all these games? And now they see, okay, wait, there's a difference now. On the sports spectrum, there's the professional side. This is where you're gonna start making real money and becoming a professional at it. And I for them seeing that, it's like, okay, I'm sure your parents were like, okay, wow,
yeah,
this is bigger than what I thought.
Yeah, and I mean, they've known since, as long as I can remember, that I wanted to race, right? I've always wanted to race in some way, shape, or form. So, it just so happens that this is my avenue for it, right? I love competition, and racing's just. I say this all the time, really to anyone I talk to that I kind of introduce to racing. Is I always just say, like, racing's all I know, and I really, really, really believe that. It really is, like, all I know what to do. Pretty much everything I do goes around my racing. So
that's crazy.
I love it, man. I really do.
Good for you. Now, what's your favorite track out of all the tracks out there? Or give me your top three. The first, the second, and third. Makes it a lot easier.
That's a tough one, man. That's
a really gosh, you love them all.
Well, I'll base it off, like, how I prefer it from driving, but there's definitely some tracks that jump up the list because of the spectator factor. Some tracks that I've been to in real life that I really like. But so my first track is probably Bristol.
Okay.
I love that. I love that track so much. It's so much fun to drive. And then I've been there, I think 3 times now. And it's, in my opinion, by far the best place to go to watch a NASCAR race. You can see everything, because it's a smaller racetrack. So if you sit up in the grandstands, you can see literally everything going on. It's awesome, for a race fan. Just a diehard race fan to go to. So that's my number 1 probably. My number 2 is probably Kansas, which in the racing community is probably a very unpopular answer, but I love Kansas. I think it races really well, especially on iRacing. And yeah, so I've always been pretty good there as well. So that's probably my number 2, but I've never been there in real life, so I haven't watched a race there. But in terms of just my experience driving in and stuff, that's probably my number 2. And then I think third is more of like a sentimental value to me. Richmond Raceway. kind of who gave me a shot, really. Like, so I initially in 2019 I was recruited by Roush Fenway at the time, and I raced for them for a year, and then after that I went and joined Richmond Raceway Esports, which then turned into Rise Esports, like I mentioned earlier. And so Richmond Raceway was, you know, kind of like my home away from home for, you know, 2 or 3 years. And, you know, I just liked the racetrack a lot, driving it, but going there and watching races there was awesome. Just being kind of a part of like that whole family almost of people was really cool. I met a lot of awesome people that, you know, I'll be associates with, or, you know, whatever, be friends with for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's probably my top 3.
Nice. That's really nice. Now, you practice on these tracks every day, or how is it you do?
Pretty much every day. Typically after a race, so we raced on Tuesday, obviously. I'll take like a couple days just to regroup and whatever. It really just depends on the track and kind of the situation, but sometimes, you know, we'll start right after the race. You know, like if the race maybe doesn't go so well, and we're motivated, then we'll, you know, start as soon as the race ends. We'll start on the next track. But typically we'll, you know, give it like a day or two to start on the next track. So, you know, like I said, we raced Atlanta on Tuesday, so we started yesterday on Richmond, which is our next race. So gave it, you know, a day off and back to the grind.
So your next race is what, tomorrow?
No, we race in 2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks. Okay.
Or I guess a week and a half now. Tuesday the 26th, I believe.
Okay. We need to take note of that. You're going to tweet it out? You're going to make sure?
Yeah, I'll
okay,
tweet
good.
it out. I'm sure OXG will
Remind
tweet it out.
everybody.
Yeah.
We got to see that. And that's going to be on Twitch, I assume.
Yep. It'll be on iRacing's Twitch channel, and it'll be on my Twitch channel, obviously.
So when you're doing your races, you mute your mic. I mean, you mute the stream so they could hear just a car, but they won't hear your mic, or how?
No, they can hear everything.
Okay.
I've kind of come to the understanding that, and I used to be like the complete opposite in terms of the spectrum on this, but I've kind of come to understand that people, even if like people are trying to stream snipe or something like that, the people that are watching want to hear like my communication and stuff like that, because that's what intrigues people. I feel like, you know.
Oh,
like,
of course.
If they join in on my stream and see that I'm streaming a Coke Series race and I'm not like interacting with my chat at all, because I don't have chat up obviously during those important races, so they see I'm not interacting with chat and they're like, what the hell is this? So to be able to hear kind of my communications and, you know, my spotter calling me through stuff and my crew chief talking to me and whatever, I think that kind of adds an element that people enjoy. So
yeah,
I've tried to kind of incorporate ways to like mute if we have to talk strategy and stuff like that, but you know, during the entire race they can hear pretty much everything.
They can hear, but you just don't talk to chat.
No, I don't talk
to
chat.
No, you can't, because you get so distracted. And
yeah.
Then you got the toxic people. Okay, somebody, can you ban this guy from the chat, please? And you're writing, I hope he doesn't do something or say something dumb. That's, that's awesome. So, you know, there's that feature that you just put emotes only. But
Yes,
if you have a really good crew, good moderators in there to help mod your channel while you're racing, you should be fine. If you don't, just put it on emote only. They could just listen, and the only thing they could just throw out there is emotes. That's a good safety feature.
Yeah, I luckily haven't had to deal with anything too crazy. So,
Oh, that's good.
you know, I have a couple guys that have mod in my chat that can help me out if, you know, someone's doing some crazy stuff. So
push comes to shove. I do quite a bit of modding. That's how I got into more of the pro scene. I modded for one person in Halo, and he was a pro. He's a pro for FaZe,
okay.
Renegade, and then from him, I'm up for over 30 players, 30 pro players.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's stressful. So now I do my things a little bit more different. I'm more into the Twitch policies and rules and regulations.
Yeah.
And if they're about to do something that they shouldn't, or they're doing something that they shouldn't, I'll DM them. Hey, you can't do this. You can't say that. Just be very careful. I do that sort of thing. There's some others that just watch what other people are saying in timeouts and like the ban and all this. I'm more for their protection of the content creator or the player, because if they do something wrong, they could get kicked out of an org.
Yeah.
Real fast, because the org gonna have to explain, no, we don't tolerate this and we can all this, and for this reason we had to let this person go. That is really sad. You don't ever want to fall into cracks like that. And I gave this example a while back, one of my episodes. I don't mention any names or anything, but there was a person that allegedly they said a joke, and it was a black and white joke. And if this person was a pro, he would have been kicked out fast.
Oh, yeah.
And the joke was one of the silliest jokes ever. It wasn't even like really kind of like dirty or bad or like, whoa. It was just like a joke that's made by a 10-year-old. And they took away one of his charms off of a game. Like, let's say, for instance, you get in your game, you have your own skin with your name on there. So they just removed it and everything. So he lost that, and allegedly, you know, that was because that was what happened. And so my part is that if I was one of his mods and he has this thing about doing jokes, I will tell him, look, tell me the joke first.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you if it's good to go live on. Because you know, there's some people that were doing certain things that I mod for. I said, hey, you can't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Why? I said, because right now somebody could just report it and they're gonna look into it and you're gonna get in trouble. Because there's some people that enter those in those chats. They're just toxic. They just like to find any little thing. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything. They probably don't even care about the game. They just know that you're growing, and they just want to find something, little thing that you could just say or do, and just to ruin your life, ruin your passion. And that's what they dedicate. They feed off of that.
Yep.
So I just make sure they're running things smoothly, and if they're doing certain things, I just say, just watch out, you know, don't do it. It's up to you. You're making the call, because I'm not your boss, but I'm just trying to help you out. Be careful with this type of music. You're putting this, and that song contains this. Mm-hmm. And all thing they need to do is just record it and just report it, and then you're done. And then you got other issues to attend. You know, there's copyright issues and stuff like that. So that's what basically I do. That I, you know, because I can just be there the whole entire time, because there's other people that I watch out for. If they're running things smoothly, I'll just let them know, hey, you're doing everything good. Just keep on doing what you're doing. I'll come back later. Not check. I do ban, very rare, but I ban when it comes to the racial stuff, or it comes to things that are that Twitch doesn't take lightly. They take it very serious. So I tend to, like, those are the times I do a quick ban any type of threats,
Yeah.
websites, links that people try to put out that contain pornography and stuff like this. I just ban that person immediately.
I get a lot of like bots in my chat.
Yeah,
like a lot of people like promoting like
yes,
stupid follower.
you gotta
sites
block it and sometimes report it. But it's typically a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
They just want you to know, this is this and this and this, and they promote their stuff
Yeah.
on your channel. It sucks, but it happens.
Yeah.
So I'll follow, and you'll follow. They'll end up following you.
Yeah.
So all you do is just block them.
Yeah, I have my my chat on followers only, so like a bot account will follow me and then instantly like I'll say, "Oh, thanks for the follow," and then I'll see my chat and it's
just a
random message like automated that they just copy and paste it or something. And it's just,
it just keeps on going and going and going. Yeah, so just those suckers are very annoying, to be really honest. They're very annoying. So yeah, that's basically what I do. So that's it. It's in a way it is a little bit stressful because I always got to keep updated with all the information that Twitch puts out. I'm not too familiar with what Kick does. I know some people do Kick, but Twitch is more of a bigger platform. Everybody's on there. But yeah, man. So it's pretty nice that you do stream while you're in your races. I am really, I can't wait for the next 2 weeks when your next race comes up, because I want to check it out. I want to get the feel of it, because I think that's what it is. You get the feel and experience your stress, because I'm gonna end up feeling that as well. It's like, okay, and then you always do. I noticed in your races, because I saw you on YouTube, you do is it indoor, right? Dashboard, right? Cam view?
Yeah, so my stream is like my point of view. And it's like in the cockpit and everything, and everybody races like that.
Everybody does cockpit view.
Yep.
Nobody does out.
You can't. So in iRacing, you can in like hosted races and like basically any race that like doesn't matter pretty much. But when it comes to their official race system or the ranked system, everything is in the cockpit. Yeah.
Like in real life.
Yeah. So that's what kind of sets apart iRacing, I think, to make it like a legit simulator is. You'll see like the F1 games where all the F1 esports drivers are all like on top of the car, or pretty much any other racing simulator or game is people like racing outside of the car. So I think, like I said, that's kind of what sets iRacing apart is it kind of gives you that like authentic feel, at least in terms of the view.
Correct. I noticed it. So I was like, wait, that's a question I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Zack on that when that time comes, because I was like, do they do that? Is it only indoor? I mean, cockpit view, or do they have outside, or can they switch back and forth? So if it's only cockpit, then I understand. So they make it, they make the simulation like down to the T, to the closest to the real thing possible. Now, this is why I say that they should make those laps a little bit more. I mean, this is me, and I understand. Probably you agree. I don't know if you want 160 laps, but
yeah. Like I said before, I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of arguing.
No, you're the only one, or there's other people as well agree?
There's definitely other people that agree with me, but there's some other people that don't. And at the end of the day, whatever they decide, like I said before, is what I got to do with.
Is what you got to take. Now, has there ever been like a vote anybody's like, hey guys, let's all just do a petition. Out of all of us that are in this league and we're professionals, how many of us agree? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
And let's say, for instance, the majority of, there's 40 racers.
Yeah.
Out of the 40, 38 says, or 35 says yes. And then you got 5, and you could just email it. Hey, this is our signatures. 38 out of 40 agree that we should do the same as the real.
We could do that, but I don't really think it would get anywhere because the reasoning of, in this instance, like shorter races, is the broadcast. So iRacing was trying to make it like accessible to anyone, right? Like, you can join and it doesn't feel like this super like long strung out event that a lot of real NASCAR races do right now. Which I like that for NASCAR. I like the longer kind of endurance type feel.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, not everybody likes that stuff. It's very niche in terms of a community. So I think iRacing, kind of what they were aiming for was something short, sweet, to the point. It's
right.
Nothing like super long, but it's still long enough to kind of create some attrition and people that go forward and go backward and stuff like that. So I think it's fine. Like I said, again, I'm just kind of I'm given what I'm given, and I gotta deal with it. But
you're taking what they put out.
Yeah.
So it's is it 2 hours, right? I mean, your races basically run for 2 hours long?
They used to. We used to run half the distance of the real life Cup Series race events. So we would run pretty much exactly half distance everywhere.
Okay.
But now it's closer to probably like a third distance. And
do you know why they did that?
I think, like I said, it was just mainly for broadcast reasoning. It kind of shortens the show up. It allows for them to kind of have like a longer pre-race show that people can watch and stuff like that. And then on top of that, during the race, it's having it condensed is just going to keep people, engaged, really. Like, it's just an attention span thing, I think.
I think that's because I'm trying to figure out if they did have 50%, half of it, that would be a good deal. So now they dropped it even more. I wonder if everybody kind of protests about that. If people are like, damn, this is gonna suck. No,
I don't think nothing would change, to be honest.
But everybody kind of like agreed to it. All the racers were kind of like, fine.
I mean, we've had like instances where people have mentioned it and whatever, but I don't think it's
gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't really think anything would change, which I've come to terms with it. You
come to accept it. This is what it is. This is what we're gonna have to accept. They took out half of the race, the length of it, so it is what it is, and just move forward and take it. Unless they in the future decide, okay, you know what, we'll bring it back up to half the limit, and that'll be fine, and gives chances to people to get back up on the horse and try to win. First place and stuff.
One thing I've talked about with iRacing a lot actually is trying to like come up with a compromise. So in real life they have what we call crown jewels. So the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400, the Southern 500, so on and so forth. So there's like, I think 3 or 4 crown jewels in real life. And so basically my idea that I presented to iRacing, and a lot of other guys also kind of came up with something similar, is like, why don't we meet it in the middle? A lot of the drivers want longer races, but then the broadcast wants shorter races, so at the end of the day, we, kind of have to do whatever they think is best.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just meet in the middle and do like 3 longer races a year, and just kind of expand that a little bit, promote it as like a crown jewel type thing.
Correct. Like the big major cups.
Yeah. And kind of do it something like that. And so that's kind of been incorporated a little bit this year. Charlotte last year was only 100 laps. But this year it's 160. So they've kind of, worked with us on that. So
they bended the elbow a little bit now.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you tell them, listen, when it comes to the big cups, where like the Daytona 500, something like that, try to just bring it up a little bit more, keeps it more interesting. All the other ones, fine, we'll do what you put out. But this the major cups, the popular ones, that's a good thing. That's coming down to happy medium, and that's nice of them for bringing up a little bit more laps. That's really, really nice. I bet a lot of you guys were happy about that.
Yep.
Now, when it comes, just real quick, when it comes to your setup, you have the pedals, you got the steering wheel, all this stuff, and your PC. You have to have a specific type of PC. Is this game GPU hungry? Is this game CPU hungry or memory hungry? What is it that you mainly need on your PC to really get the simulator running as it is? Because I know for Flight Sim, it's not only GPU, CPU, it is everything hungry. I mean, this requires like the memory. You can have as much memory. You could get 64 gigs of memory, but you need the fastest memory.
Yeah.
That throws out the GPU is the same way, the CPU the same way. It's so much stuff for Flight Sim. Now for NASCAR, your sim, what does it eat up a lot? What is it you really need the most?
I think it's primarily CPU.
Okay.
I've experienced CPU issues a lot more than anything else in terms of performance on iRacing, so I'd probably say that. But you need good everything, right? Like like you were saying, you need a good GPU, you need good
internet,
memory, and good internet and everything. So, but I'd say CPU is probably the biggest factor for sure.
You use Intel or?
I have an Intel i9 10900K.
Jeez.
So.
Yeah, that's a bad boy.
Yep. Spent a lot of money on this computer.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
What's your graphics card?
3080 Ti.
That's another bad boy.
Yeah.
I got a 3070 Ti. 3080 Ti. That's basically 3090.
Yep. At the time, I bought it right around Christmas of 2022, so about a year and a half ish.
Yeah. Same year.
At the time I bought it, it was pretty much close to the best of the best you could get at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously not so much right now, but still very good.
Well, obviously. The thing is, if you guys are, I think what Femi told me that you guys are the NASCAR gaming, the game you guys, the sim you use is it's an older version, no?
Yeah, it's been out for a long time.
Correct.
They released in 2008, I believe. So
yeah, they just keep on putting patches and patches and
pretty much
upgrades and upgrades.
Yeah, they have a quarterly build is what they call it, where it's basically just like one big update, and then they have kind of smaller patches throughout a season, which each season is 12 weeks.
Okay. And this simulator, is it EA or is it made by a different company?
No, so it's it's the makers of Papyrus, the Papyrus NASCAR game series back in the day. I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh, we'll take a look. We'll take a look. Apparently, it could be that.
I think they it's a lot of the people that developed NASCAR 2003, or like NR 2003 is what a lot of people call it, which was a very popular simulator, for that time period. And then as far as I know, a lot of people that worked on that went and created iRacing and basically made like a brand off of, like, basically just branching off of Papyrus, pretty much.
Okay.
Is how I understand it. So again, I could be wrong, but I think that's right.
Yeah, cause see, I'm so used to seeing these like NASCAR Heat, NASCAR Ignition, Thunder, EA Sports, all this stuff, and I'm thinking those are the ones you guys use.
Yeah.
You guys use those?
No. So
No.
we're
So what's the difference between those games and the one that you're using? Is the mechanics, everything totally different?
those are games and we're on a simulator is the difference.
Is the difference? Those are games. That is a
That's
joke.
really like the best way to put it. That's
Mhm.
kind of, it sounds kind of cliche, but it really like is the best way to put it. Like NASCAR Heat and Forza and like NASCAR Thunder, kind of like what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Like that's all
That's a
more
video
like,
game.
Yeah, that's more
Okay.
like towards the casual audience. And iRacing is, this
The
may sound like a bad thing, but it's very expensive, right, compared to like a normal console game. It's
Okay.
it's very expensive. The entry level, or the entry barrier, sorry, is money. Like a lot of people's, I see on, because iRacing's on Steam, so you'll see like reviews on Steam of how expensive it is and whatever, which although that's true, at the end of the day, you're paying for the competition. You're paying, you get what you pay for.
You
with
get what you
iRacing.
pay for. You pay for the best. Yeah, it's like in Flight Sim. There's different. There's the Microsoft, and there's another brand as well that some pilots use for the real thing. And some people say, "Oh, is it like flying an airplane like I do in GTA?" I go, "Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, it's
Totally
nowhere close.
different." Yeah, simulator is simulator, and GTA is GTA, or
Yeah,
other games that you
exactly.
do. You fly an airplane, so it's basically, so what I see is basically the same way.
Yep.
Your racing console and this regular racing games, those are just the games. Simulator is just simulator. You're gonna feel a big total difference. Now your steering wheel, does it also have feedback?
Yeah, so I can tilt my camera down for you to see, but I have a wheelbase right here.
Oh, okay.
And then I have my actual wheel with a quick release on it, so
Oh, it's detachable too.
I can literally just take it and put it on and take it off whenever I want, which is very nice because it's a big wheel.
I don't. Okay. How much does that sucker cost? That looks like a real freaking NASCAR steering wheel.
Yeah, so this is actually, it's a 13-inch Legends wheel, so it's more of like an entry-level car size steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I paid like, I don't know, $300 for this, just the wheel itself.
Jeez.
And then this adapter, like the quick release adapter on it, I paid probably $350 for that. And then the wheelbase was like $500. My pedals below the desk were $350. So it's pricey, man.
Simulator is pricey. A lot of people think it's a joke. I my God, but that looks so like solid. That looks like very well built. That doesn't look plasticky.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's you get what you pay for. Like I said,
Yeah.
When it comes to purchasing like sim racing equipment, if you want good quality, you got to pay for it. So, but But at the same time, you can compete on cheaper equipment. You know, it's not as common nowadays. A lot of the people are on, you know, higher end stuff, because a lot of guys, you know, when they win money off races, like, they'll just reinvest it, right? So that's how it was for me. I was kind of racing on just, you know, like, normal stuff that most, like, entry level or, you know, casual guys would use. And I won $10,000 in 2018, the year before I won the Coke Series championship. And I reinvested a lot of that. I bought a whole brand new computer, spent a lot of money on that at the time, and bought 3 monitors and so on. So
you have 3 monitors, so you could get a view of your right, your left, and then in your front, so you'd be good. That's really curious. I didn't know that in iRacing their equipment goes that deep. I thought that was only on Flight Sim. No, I'm wrong, because I'm gonna show you my what I got. I got the Airbus Thrustmaster, and just alone the yoke and the throttles and everything is $300. But I'm gonna show you so you can take a look. I got this one here. This is the throttle.
Oh, wow.
So this here is actually a replica what an Airbus jet has.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is the yoke.
Wow.
Okay. It says Airbus right there. So this is the Airbus design. Airbus has their yoke on the airplanes on their left-hand side. The co-pilot has it on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And the throttles are in the middle. That is actually designed, and the specs are by Airbus. Now, if I want the Boeing, there is a Boeing version, and that uses a yoke.
Yeah.
Like that, like it looks like a steering wheel, and and they have it by Boeing. There's selected. Some people like to fly Airbuses. Some people prefer to fly Boeings. It just depends your preference. Yep. There's certain pilots and stuff. Yep. And then you could it was really crazy about it, which I like. You could work for a simulation for an airline.
Really?
Yeah, you work for an airline. You gotta go in, like, if you're a pilot and you have your flight schedule that you got to do for the day. Yeah. And they'll watch you, and then you got air traffic control. They're private. They're like, you got to pay for it to get in, but you got to know your stuff. It's not the place that little kids go in and start, I'm flying right now. You do that on a different server that Microsoft throws out that everybody could just join in. But once you go into, like, the real thing, it's totally different. The comms, you got to go exactly how it's supposed to go, because a lot of the pilots are they're student pilots, and the air traffic controls are people that are studying to become to do that in real life as work in traffic control for an airport and stuff. Yep. So they have to go by the FCC, the communications, all this stuff. They got to go right by the book. So that's how they get trained. And it's really crazy. So the equipment, this is just a little bit of it. This is not the whole. Some people they'll go to a graveyard, what they call their airplane graveyard, and buy
I've seen those.
You've seen it? They buy the front end of a Boeing.
Yeah.
And they just equip it, and that costs thousands.
Oh yeah.
Thousands.
I can only imagine.
Thousands. Just to have a cockpit at your own home could go up to $10,000. So I assume the same thing they did with the iRacing too, like what you have, because that looks like really good quality that you have there.
Yeah, so I'm kind of more on like the casual side in terms of my setup. Most of the professionals now are like in a rig, so it's like kind of more of a designed racing seat
Mm-hmm.
versus I just obviously am at my desk, so
Correct.
I kind of have a bit more of a casual setup when it comes to that, but most people like will just have kind of a normal seat, nothing like super outrageous, but there's some people that you can get like a motion rig where
You feel
pretty
it,
much
yeah.
like pretty much everything will move under you, depending on the bumps obviously and stuff like that. So that's one thing that like I lack that like I said, most people that do that are more like casual racers that have like a motion rig and stuff. It's probably a disadvantage on iRacing to have that, to be honest, but that's one thing that like I don't get the sense of is like that the seat feel of, you know, feeling the car in like your butt and in your back and stuff like that, which is a big thing for like real life racers that go onto iRacing. They're like, I can't feel the car. I have no idea where the car is going because they all base it off their feeling instead of like their actual vision.
Wow.
Which on iRacing I've had to adapt, which it didn't take me very long. I was kind of used to it pretty quickly once I, you know, started racing when I was a kid, but I had to adapt a little bit to not being able to feel the car. You know, you just kind of feel it in your hands, and that's really it.
Wow, that's crazy. That is really
So,
crazy. So yeah, I could fully understand if in the future you start building it and make yourself an actual cockpit inside your house and would, you know, I don't know.
I've thought about it. It's
Yeah.
just I've put so much into this at this point. Like I have all my monitors mounted on the wall.
Yeah.
Um and I have like a huge L-shaped desk and stuff like that. It's just it'd be such a pain to like switch, but
To
I've definitely had the opportunities in the past and I haven't taken them, so maybe if
well,
the
if
right
you
opportunity
right, yeah, the
comes.
right opportunity, and if the time comes, the time comes. If you really need to do it, but if you're winning, you don't need to. You just keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep on having it because once you start changing your setup, then your body for some odd reason you gotta get adjusted to
Oh
everything,
yeah.
and probably you're like, wait, I'm not drive racing well as I did before. Let me go back to like how I was doing it to get a better feel. It feels better this way, and you know, it just you just got to go with the flow to see how things go.
Yep.
Well, Zach, I know geez, whew, I tell you, these conversations we always say 1 hour, but it tends to go more because it gets really good.
Yeah.
But man, it's such an honor to have you on, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course.
I
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. So I know time is of essence, and I know you're a busy man, and you're probably gonna be racing here and practicing. So what I always do, I tell everybody that comes and visit to tell everybody around the world where they could find you, your Twitch channel, Twitter. The stage is yours.
Yeah, so I stream on Twitch, as I said earlier in the show, not super consistently, but I'm trying to be better about it. On twitch.tv/ZackNovak5. I also just created a TikTok not too long ago. I've been trying to post some highlights and stuff on there. That's also the same Zack Novak 5. And then on Twitter, it's ZNovak15. I don't really use Instagram, but on there, it's Zack Novak 5 as well. I think Zack.Novak5 on Instagram. And then, yeah, obviously follow all the Oxygen Esports channels. And go follow Coca-Cola Racing as well and support the sponsor.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you. And your Twitch one more time is what now?
Zack Novak 5.
Zack Novak 5. Okay. And your Twitter is same thing, right?
My Twitter is ZNovak 15.
Okay.
And then my TikTok is the same, Zack Novak 5.
Yeah, because I'm sure all the latest and greatest you posted on Twitter. That's where everybody's gonna get their things. Yeah, it's on Twitter because almost everybody goes to Twitter to find out. Okay, well he just announced it on Twitter, so we get that there first. And okay, phenomenal. Okay, well, thank you so much, man. You have a good one, and folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and it was a pleasure. Thank you, fans. Everyone, have a good one. Till next time, God bless you. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the DrVtach Show, and don't forget to click follow.